Hello guys, and welcome back to the Tom Talks Toon channel. In today's video we have a massive transfer update. Newcastle United have finally secured their first signing of the window. Now, I've talked a few times about the player in question. I actually have a video on him already, but now that the signing is confirmed, we're going to take a deeper dive into why he has potential to become a brilliant signing despite some potentially worrying numbers. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel, follow my Twitter. I post threads and stuff like this, so you've got academy threads, players that you'll have never heard of, and exclusive academy news and information. Anyways, so today, as I was at work, we had confirmation that Newcastle have signed the goalkeeper Ewen Jaouen from Reims for £24 million. Now, this is a fee which includes bonuses. It's a 4-year contract, and the reported fee, kind of base fee, is around about £21 million with around 3 in add-ons. Now, this has previously been reported to be as a player who's going to come in not to specifically be the number one, but to compete with the number one keeper. As you can see, this tweet from Sasha Tavaliri, who initially broke the news we were going to go for the signing. So a reliable source and an interesting fact. So why is this signing so big for Newcastle United? Now, I wrote this thread, so if you follow me on Twitter already, you'll have seen this, but I'm going to add in some extra clips. So even if you've already seen this, you can stick around. There's some extra stuff, but I'm going to go through some really interesting data. Now, he agreed personal terms a while ago and he visited the training ground allegedly, but now that it's done, let's look at some more interesting stuff. So, at first glance, Jaouen's numbers look solid. So he got 34 league appearances, 15 clean sheets, and conceded 35 goals. Now, for a 20-year-old goalkeeper playing senior football, that is impressive on the surface. You know, you look at that, those are good numbers. But once you dig a bit deeper, the numbers become interesting and, as I mentioned before, potentially slightly concerning. Now, we're going to get into that a bit later, why that could be concerning. So, here, the biggest caveat is that his shot-stopping numbers aren't actually very good. He recorded a 67% save percentage in the Ligue 2 season, and he actually got minus 3.73 goals prevented, meaning he conceded nearly 4 more goals than expected based on the quality of shots he faced. Now, that might at first glance just make you go, well, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Those numbers are bad, so he must be a bad player. Well, it doesn't quite work like that. Now, you can see, based on interest from Chelsea and also Real Madrid, that there's clearly more to it. Let's get into it. So, firstly, kind of age profile. Size, reach, mobility, mentality, and coachability are all things that will come into the thinking behind the deal. Now, we aren't signing him to be number one. We're signing him to become the number one in the future and to kind of compete for it now. And there's a big difference, and that means he'd have some time to improve. And as I mentioned, his profile, there's no doubt with his profile, he could become an insane player. Now, firstly, what makes him so intriguing is that physical package. Now, he's around 2 meters tall. He's an enormous presence in goal and still remarkably young for a goalkeeper. Now, most elite goalkeepers don't even hit their peak until their late 20s. He turns 21 this winter, so much time to improve. And I think it's also important to note that this age profile is also an attractive aspect of the deal for another reason, because we've needed a succession plan for our goalkeeping department for quite a while. Nick Pope is now to his mid-30s. Obviously, Vlachodimos is probably going to go. Ruddy's gone. So we've needed some young blood in there for quite a while, and Jaouen offers exactly that. Now, despite his young age, he has plenty of experience. Across the last few seasons, he has over 50 senior appearances for 3 clubs in French football, despite only being 20 years old. So 3 seasons at a high level of football, even though he's 20 for a goalkeeper, is pretty insane. And that is some crazy development time that many goalkeepers of his age simply do not have. Now, there are a lot of signs of being a modern goalkeeper. He's comfortable enough in possession and is an accurate long kicker with 140 successful passes. And he actually registered an assist not too long ago with this accurate long passing where he pumps the ball long. And slightly fortunate, you could argue, but it does end up becoming a goal. Now, the main question remains, can he become an elite shot stopper? Ultimately, that's the most important part of being a goalkeeper. Now, this negative goals prevented figure and his kind of average save percentages indicate that there is some development still needed. Now, Newcastle would be buying lots of potential, it's clear, but not certainty. And this sheer size and wingspan that he has immediately gives him a massive capability to become one of Europe's best goalkeepers. Now, with some of these saves that I've been kind of overlaying on top of this video, it's undoubtable that you just look at him, and with good coaching, he can improve these underlying numbers to join Europe's elite goalkeepers. Now, one area where he already looks ahead of his peers is in 1v1 situations. Rather than committing early, he stays big, remains patient, and forces forwards to make the final decision. Delaying this movement makes the goal feel incredibly small, which you can see in this clip that I've been playing over the top. How he just stays big and the attacker is forced to kind of shoot when the angle's not too good, and of course he makes that save. Now, all of what I've mentioned so far is exactly why a move makes sense. The reported fee is significant, yes, but Newcastle wouldn't need to start him immediately. He could arrive as a number 2, train daily with the team, with the coaches, and compete directly with our number 1. Now, often recruitment, I think with our new kind of setup with Ross Wilson and all this, is about identifying players who become stars rather than currently being them. You think of when Newcastle signed Bruno and Isak, they were kind of buying the dip, especially with Isak, but we were buying players that weren't superstars in the moment. We were buying the profiles, and Jaouen feels like that. He's got the profile to be a star. So as I mentioned, the underlying metrics are not spectacular, but the current output is not the kind of thing that we need to be worried about. It's not screaming in this moment a future world-class goalkeeper, but the age, the frame, the experience that he already has for his young age, and the potential development that he could undergo is incredibly difficult to ignore. Now, if Newcastle kind of do bring this signing in, it's obviously not because we think he's the best option on the market right now to become number 1, but it's because the team truly believe that he has potential to become one of the best goalkeepers around. And for a club thinking long term, that is a very smart bet. Thank you for watching today's update video. Some massive news, some big kind of stuff that Newcastle are getting business done early. We've also had a bid accepted for Zadok Johanna, which if you watched my video the other day, you know how much I rate him. And I really hope that comes through. Now he's got another bid accepted by Chelsea, and he basically has to choose his club. Brighton are still in the running, it is worth mentioning, but I think it will between us and Chelsea. And you'd like to think if he's got a brain and some good people around him, he'll come to Newcastle United. You never know. Chelsea seem to sweep all these youngsters up, so I suppose it's still possible. But fingers crossed he comes to Newcastle United. If you did enjoy, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comments, like the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.